It's hard to believe, but Metroid Prime 4 was first announced way back in 2017, only 3 months after the launch of the Nintendo Switch. Development restarted in 2019, at which point Retro Studios, the developers of the original trilogy, took over. With only a few weeks left to go before launch, I wanted to look back at that original trilogy, which wrapped up in 2007 with Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. That was over half my lifetime ago, which makes me want to go lie down for a bit, but I have a mission: to get you fine viewers up to speed on the story of Samus's 3D adventures so far. Before we dive in, I'm sure many people are wondering how much of the Metroid series is required reading before they can play Metroid Prime 4 and beyond, or which games they absolutely need to play before jumping into this one. The good news and the bad news is,
I don't know what to tell you, bud!
Nintendo has put in-universe dates on certain things, but not others. What they have confirmed on multiple occasions is that the entirety of the original Metroid Prime trilogy canonically takes place between the events of Metroid and Metroid 2 Return of Samus. Metroid Prime 3 put a nice explosive bow on top of the story arc they introduced in the original Metroid Prime, while giving us a brief tease in the secret ending cutscene. This fourth entry is looking to finally pay off on that tease, kicking off a whole new storyline for fans as well as newcomers to enjoy. Metroid Prime takes place not long after the events of the original Metroid from the NES. The space pirate forces have retreated after their defeat at Zebes and begun more shady business on the planet Talon 4. The planet was struck some time ago by a meteor, at which point a mutagenic substance, dubbed Phazon, began corrupting the local wildlife. The space pirates began using this Phazon to experiment on local wildlife, both on-planet and on their orbital research frigate. These experiments naturally go awry, leading to an automated distress signal that gets investigated by everyone's favorite bounty hunter, Samus Aran. A battle with an enormous research specimen destroys the frigate, but not before Samus crosses paths with her sworn nemesis, Ridley. An explosion causes her suit to malfunction, but she escapes the frigate in time and pursues Ridley down to the surface of Talon 4. The planet is divided into 5 main areas. Exploring these areas grants Samus the use of her missing equipment, along with some new upgrades, as she investigates both the current space pirate presence and the past civilization of Chozo, who did their best to contain the poisonous Phazon, slowly killing them and their planet. Some of the space pirate experiments involve Metroids, extremely lethal bioweapons they hope to use in their never-ending quest to conquer the galaxy. The Metroid's most impressive, and most horrifying, trait is their ability to latch onto living organisms and completely drain these victims of their life force, leaving nothing but a husk. Exposure to Phazon causes them to age more rapidly or even become invulnerable to certain weapons. As for the Chozo, they were able to seal off the impact crater with 12 artifacts that were spread across the planet. This last-ditch effort made sure nobody could get inside and also prevented a powerful monstrosity from getting out. Upon bringing the last of the artifacts to the site, Samus is attacked by Ridley, kicking off one of the most memorable boss battles of the past 20 years. After his defeat, Samus confronts the great evil within the crater, dubbed Metroid Prime. Just before its death, it desperately grabs at Samus, managing to remove the Phazon-resistant layer of her suit. Samus escapes from the impact crater, reveals herself to be a lady, then leaves Talon 4 behind. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes takes place on the rogue planet Aether. Samus is tasked with tracking down a missing Galactic Federation patrol who are pursuing local space pirate forces before losing contact with Upper Command. Upon arrival, Samus comes across a twisted version of herself seemingly drawing power from nearby Phazon before disappearing through a portal. Samus gives chase, arriving in a dark mirror of Aether. She's ambushed by the Dark World's inhabitants, the Ing, who were hired by Retro Studios to steal some of Samus's default powers in order to make this game fit the Metroidvania bill. Samus soon learns the Federation troops fell to these same forces. The Ing can't survive in the light world, so they instead possessed a hive of local wildlife, quickly outnumbering and overrunning the Federation. In a rarity for the series up to that point, Samus meets an ally, a Luminoth named Umos. He explains that a meteor struck Aether decades prior to her arrival, which caused the planet's native energy to be split in half. The divided energy creates a dark Aether and births the Ing, who have engaged the Luminoth in a bloody war for control of the planetary energy ever since. Samus arrives as the Luminoth are on the brink of losing the war, and she is tasked with retrieving the energy currently being held in the twisted temples of Dark Aether. This is no easy task, as the atmosphere itself is poisonous. Samus will have to make use of periodic beacons set up by past Luminoth expeditions in order to stay safe and stay alive. Graciously, defeating the Guardian of the First Dark Temple grants Samus a new suit that is much more resistant to Dark Aether's atmosphere. Samus's doppelganger plays a major role in this game as well. Being born from the essence of Metroid Prime merging with Samus's Phazon suit, Dark Samus feeds off of Phazon and is even feared, and respected, by the space pirate forces who see it as the key to getting rid of our Samus once and for all. Samus eventually confronts the Emperor Ing, thus obtaining the last of the planetary energy and leaving Dark Aether on the brink of collapse. But before she can escape back to the light, she has one final showdown with Dark Samus. She emerges victorious and brings peace back to Aether, but Dark Samus isn't going down that easily. The beginning of Metroid Prime 3 Corruption sees Samus and 3 fellow bounty hunters called upon by the Galactic Federation for assistance with their supercomputer network. However, a meteor enters orbit, and the hunters race to destroy it before it can make impact. It turns out this meteor, like the ones that struck Talon 4 and Aether, is actually a living seed from the Phazon home planet. Just before our hunters activate the planetary defense system, they're confronted by a revived Dark Samus, whose attack is so powerful that they are all now infected with Phazon. Luckily for us, the Federation had already been researching ways to contain and utilize Phazon for their own offensive needs, so everyone is outfitted with a Phazon enhancement device. Unluckily, your 3 former comrades have all gone dark, possibly because the devices weren't enough to stop the Phazon from fully corrupting them. As Samus goes from planet to planet to reactivate the Aurora Unit networks, she'll also be tasked with destroying the Leviathan seeds that made impact there, as well as confronting her twisted former colleagues. Thanks to information on the Space Pirate homeworld, Samus and the Federation are able to pinpoint the location of the Phazon home planet. Setting foot on the planet, dubbed Phase, I guess, brings Samus's corruption to a level where her gunship no longer recognizes her. Samus has no choice but to march forward and confront the combined forces of Dark Samus at its strongest, as well as a fully corrupted Aurora unit. With the threat of both Dark Samus and Phazon finally obliterated, Samus is able to escape the planet before it explodes, giving the Federation commander a very 2007 coded thumbs up as she flies past. With the story arc of Phazon and Dark Samus now completed, the secret 100% ending instead teases a different antagonist, a rival bounty hunter by the name of Sylux. His ship, recognizable from his earlier appearance in the DS title Metroid Prime Hunters, is seen uncloaking before pursuing Samus. Now, 18 long years later, that tease is paying off. Nintendo has understandably kept a lot of details close to the chest, but the very first trailer showed Sylux confronting Samus with what appear to be Metroid clones at his side. If you couldn't already tell, I'm a massive fan of this series. You don't have to take my word for it though. In 2022, GameRant published a listicle with the top 15 gaming trilogies as determined by their Metacritic averages, and the Metroid Prime trilogy tied for third with an average score of 93. On top of an interesting narrative, each game also has fantastic art direction, level design, boss fights, and world building that I could only scratch the surface of here. Whether you've been impatiently waiting for the newest entry like me, or you're curious to jump in fresh on December 4th, I think we're all in for a great ride. What's your hype level for Metroid Prime 4? Let me know in the comments. And as always, play what you love and love what you play.